What's up? I'm Big Bob. What's up, Big Bob? We got another wonderful episode right here. Before I introduce my guest, we do a shout out to Brenda Ringwood, who's our executive producer and the founder of Becoming the Better You Foundation. Today, fraternity brother, entrepreneur, community leader, Velton Showell. Velton, where am I calling to?
I am actually in South Florida. I'm in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale, a town called Pembroke Pines.
Is that the rich part of Florida?
That's the rumor.
Okay. I love this. We're gonna have a great time.
Well, always.
You and I both, we just met for the first time a couple of weeks ago. We serve on the board of directors of Becoming the Better You Foundation. What was your first attraction to? Why did you become involved with BTBY?
Well, it's interesting. I think it was Zig Ziglar who said, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters more so where you end. And everybody in life, if they've lived long enough, has gone through some trials, tribulations, or transgressions. And the real determining factor is whether they can shake it and move on because they have a passion, a thirst to be the best person that they could possibly be. And when I heard the title, Be the Best You, it resonated with me because of some of the things that I've gone through in my life and my commitment to helping other people go from where they are to where they dreamed of being. So the two were natural. There was natural symmetry there. And then I met Brenda, and my good friend Terrence Leftridge is also part of the organization. And when Brenda approached me and said, "Hey, we'd like for you to participate," which is where I started, and then it evolved into where you and I both are now as board members.
100% simpatico. I believe everybody's been broken, is broken, was broken. And I believe everybody would love to find the path of how do they become a better version of themselves? How do they become the version of themselves they dreamt of becoming? Whether it's academic, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, everybody needs. And even if life is absolutely sublime, why not give back? Why not service the community and help others find the same path that you were fortunate enough to find? Service is the gift I give myself to honor my blessings. And I find life a lot more rewarding since I became involved with BTBY. My gift to myself is being able to give to BTBY. And I think it's contagious. I think more people who will hear the story will get involved. And it's folks like you and some of the other members that we've met and the leaders that will only perpetuate and make this organization spectacular someday.
Absolutely. Well, Bob, you've heard it said before, everybody has a why they do this, why they get up in the morning, why they go to the job that they go to, marry the person that they married, whatever. And I look at why because why is an acronym. It's not a word. Why stands for what hurts you. Because everybody's either in a hurt, just came out of a hurt, or there's a hurt around the corner waiting for them. So if you understand what's hurting that person, you can help them find the other side of why, which is what heals you. So why basically stands for what hurts you or what heals you. When you're hurt, nobody wants to be hurt, but they're looking for something to heal. So as
Powerful.
a
Powerful.
servant, and I work in the area of leadership, and servant leadership is the best form of leadership you could ever find. And I ask people this up front. I am Christian. Not everybody's not a Christian. But if you are a Christian, our responsibility is to model ourselves after the greatest leader who ever lived, walked the face of the earth. He led 12 individuals. And here's the secret. As you become a leader, if you're really worth your salt, because a lot of people get that title and it goes to their head. But as a leader, can you subject yourself, now watch this, Bob, to wash the feet of the people that you were entrusted to lead?
Powerful, powerful message. And the message is leaders aren't better. They just lead.
Well, they elevate. They elevate the people around them.
Bring people forward.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they bring people up, but they bring people forward. They give you the opportunity to become a better version of yourself by leading the way. But it's not because they're looking down or pushing you forward. It's because they are sharing their gifts and empowering you to do the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when people meet you, that's when you have the opportunity to turn them on or turn them off. Because there's only three things people want to know when they meet you. Who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? Who are you behind the words?
Boy, you got this down good. You've been practicing this.
I live this, Bob. This is just who I am.
This is powerful stuff.
Yeah.
But really is. I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. But the first thing they want to know is, who are you? But not just your name is Big Bob, but who are you behind the words?
Right.
Do you have credibility? Do you have a passion to help other people? Or what is your value system? The second thing they want to know is, what do you have? What can you share with me that's going to, now let's take the words right out of the title, make me a better me. What do you have that you are willing to share with me that's going to help me get to where I'm trying to go? And the last thing, because you can pontificate your brilliance and give them all the information in the world, but the last thing they want to know is, why should I care? You say all this stuff, well, what's in it for me? Why should I care about what you just told me?
I had a conversation with myself. Very interesting, by the way.
You didn't answer yourself down, did you, Bob?
I did. I just passed. I just passed on my 50th college reunion. Wow, chose not to go, right? And I'm looking in the mirror and say, why don't you want to go? I said, I really don't need any new friends. I really don't need to reconnect with these people I went to college with 50 years ago. And the conversation kept going with myself. I said, what's a friend? And for me, a friend is someone who adds value to my life. It makes me a better person having them in my circle. If they are empty calories, why do I need them as a friend? If they don't have a substance, an aura, a sense of giving, if they're takers, why do I need them as a friend? I got all the friends I need already. I know lots of people. I'm looking for people who enrich my life so I can expand my friends with quality people and not just head count.
It's interesting, Bob, that you bring that up today. I just came back from our national convention in Tampa, Florida. And Saturday night, I was sitting at the dinner table at the president's banquet, excuse me, with our executive director. And I picked up my phone and I got a text message that a guy that I met in 1977 when I was a freshman in college, who was a fraternity brother of mine. He's my son's godfather, and I was the best man in his wedding. We had a very difficult conversation a few months ago, and I just told him lose my number. I was fed up, and I looked down at my phone. He had passed away.
Oh my.
He had passed away.
Oh,
And I looked at the phone, and excuse my expression, I said all ish. I'll say ish. I won't say the real word. And the executive director looked at me and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Greg Adams just passed away." He said, "Oh my God," because he knew Greg also. But speaking to what you talked about, not needing more friends, if we are truly servants, as we profess to be, it's not always that we're looking for a friend. We're looking for for an opportunity to serve someone who may be in need of us and what we have. Not necessarily monetarily. It might be emotionally. It might be mentally. It might just be a pat or a hug or arm around them or a pat on the back that said, "The day that you had is going to pass because tomorrow it will be history. Don't dwell on it. Accept it for what it is and keep moving." And sometimes we have to do that, even though we said, this person is a person after today that I'm going to love, but I'm going to love them from a distance.
so we met.
Hmm.
You got nothing I want.
Hmm.
Nothing.
Hmm.
You're not going to
Hmm.
buy me a steak. You're not going to
I
fly
don't
me
even.
down to the Bahamas.
Hmm.
There's nothing you.
Hmm.
However, or let me rephrase it. You got nothing I need.
Right.
You have
Okay.
something I want.
Hmm.
I want your friendship because
Hmm.
you add to my life,
Hmm.
right? Don't need anything you got, but I want your friendship
Hmm.
because you add texture, you add intellect, you add substance to
Okay.
who I am with the conversations that we have. And this to me is more valuable than going back and rekindling the relationships I had 50 years ago with Sam, Dick, and Harry, and Sally, and Sue,
Hmm.
and all the other, right? I don't need them. I don't know if they're going to
Well,
add to my quality of my life.
let me tell you a
Does
little
this,
story.
does that
Okay.
make any sense to you?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Um, when you talk about long-term exchange, because these are not people that are going to be in your inner circle. And I'm gonna tell you two things. When my mother was still alive, she lived in the old neighborhood that I grew up in. I'm from Camden, New Jersey. And when I would go home to visit her, sometimes I would see one of my old buddies that I grew up with walk down the street. Now
You never moved away.
he was not as fortunate as I was, and the life that he was living every day was a very difficult, tough life. And I could see it as he came down the street. But when he came past the house, I would open the door and say, "Hey, Charlie, how you doing, man?" And I'd walk out and talk to him.
Right.
And when I came back in the house, my mother would say, "You haven't seen Charlie in 40 years. You have no idea what he's doing. He's not doing good stuff. He's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this." Because my mother was very active in the community. I said, "Mom, let me say something to you. I understand that Charlie might be doing that, but I can't not see Charlie and at least acknowledge him. We can't go to the bar and have a drink. I'm not going to Charlie's house. I'm not going to hang out with Charlie, but I'm at least going to say, 'Hey, brother, I see you, still love you. Hope you're doing well,' even though I know he's not." But as a servant leader, if I can make him feel that much better today, then I have an obligation to do that. That's how I'm built.
If I ever get caught holding myself out as better than somebody else, I want to be called out on it.
Hmm.
I want to. I mean, I've used the monogram to describe myself as unpretentious, overindulgent, which means to me, if I wanted a bigger, more expensive car, I'd have a bigger, more expensive car. If I wanted to have a second home down in that expensive neighborhood you live in, I'd have a second house down in that expensive neighborhood,
Okay.
right? I,
Right.
I have everything I need and want. I
Mhm.
don't need the shiny new toys. I like I like who I am
Mhm.
without putting on airs.
I
I mean,
understand.
I like to be a ball buster, right? I like to be.
No.
I do. You old fart. So
We
I
just
mean,
just for the audience, they need to understand. Bob and I just met a couple weeks ago, but we knew it when we met. We're kind of like kindred spirits because we get along very very well, and we're always going back and forth with little
you know
stuff.
what that is? It's honesty. It's transparency. You
Absolutely,
are who you are. I
always,
want to be
Tim.
who I am. There's no secret here. You either like it, you don't like it. I don't give a F, right? I want to be true to myself.
Well,
And
there's a saying that says, "What you think of me is none of my business."
the important thing is, how can I expect anybody to like me if I don't like myself? And how
Absolutely,
can I like myself if I'm a phony?
you can't. You
So I
can't.
got to be me
Absolutely,
and
because everybody else is taken.
hang out with the people who see through the shenanigans and say he has value.
Mhm.
And it
Absolutely.
takes somebody pretty bright to look through all the shenanigans and say he has value. And
Mhm.
so I like to hang out with bright people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those things where we it takes all kinds of people to make a world. And there are some people that are going to be able to be positive forces in your life. And there are people that are just going to be passing in the night. And you just have to figure out which one they are and don't begrudge anybody for any reason. But stick to your standards and who you are.
So I want to go back to your vocation a little bit because I find it very, very fascinating what you've been able to accomplish. Um, Unassumingly, you've climbed to the top of a ladder. You have amassed a tremendous amount of experience and resources.
Mhm.
Can we talk about that for a while?
Well, as I said, I come from somewhat humble beginnings, even though I come from a family of two things: entrepreneurs and sticklers on education. Okay.
Sounds like
Uh,
great core values to me.
yeah. My great grandfather, who lived to be 104 years old, graduated from Delaware State College. It's now Delaware State University in 1911. And people used to ask me, was I the first college person in my family to attend
Not even
college?
close.
Him and my great grandmother both graduated. He graduated in 1911. She graduated in 1912. So that
That
was.
is even more impressive that she graduated because women. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Sure. The other side of my family was a little different. My father's mother's side, my great grandfather there ran away from home when he was 16 years old. He lived in Virginia, but he was tired of racism. Now he was very fair skinned, but he was tired of dealing with racism in Virginia. And him and three of his buddies got in a truck and drove to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he ended up living. Started a moving company called Apple Moving and Storage in 1916. And when he died, he owned the largest furniture warehouse in the city of Philadelphia. It was
No,
7 stories north and south side. He had 36 trucks in the yard, and he had a moving company and a transportation company. So he was the entrepreneur on this side. On the other side, I had the educators, and then my mother's family, they were into politics, which my
are
other
you saying
cousin.
you're the black sheep of the family,
No, I'm not.
the underachiever? You're the,
And
you never.
I had to set my sights very high because these people had done so many great things, and it was unacceptable in our household to be mediocre. So it drove you to find your passion, to what are you going to do with your life to contribute. One of the things that I teach a lot of people that I work with now, and I said, when your vocation intersects with your passion, you'll never work a day in your life, because that's what you were born to do. And through 30 years in corporate America, doing the things that I had to do to educate myself, to fortify myself, to make the money I needed to make to take care of my family, I had learned so many lessons. And now, what do? I teach, mentor, and train next generations of those individuals who are trying to walk down the same type of path. You've heard me referred to as the leadershipologist. Well, that's because I believe in the fact that you're never too young to teach and you're never too old to learn. So what do? You surround yourself with people with like aspirations, like mindsets, and you figure out how you can lift each other as you climb.
I could do this for hours. I could do this for a weekend.
We
I,
did.
I'm I got goosebumps listening to you inspire me, because it's the words are paraphrasing all my thoughts that I've believed in my whole life.
Okay.
And
I'm honored to hear that.
you're articulating some of my core values. And you're expressing so much better than I can um, what I think is important in life. And I'm sure if we were talking about family, if we're talking about education, if we're talking about integrity, um, communication, it would be, believe it or not, yes, I'm a lot gruffer and rougher around the edges, but it'd be really similar. Stripped
Hmm.
down, it would be very, very similar.
Well, that's because as you said at the inception, this is not something that's fabricated. This is not something that I had or you had to go out and study and research. We don't talk the talk, we walk the walk. This is the road that we've traveled. And it hasn't always been this way or this way. There's been a whole lot of this. And that's where the lessons are. People say, well, I want to be where you are. Okay. How did you get there? How did you get there? Well, bottom line is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of pain. But I have an obligation, and my obligation is to make your road less painful than mine. But the question is, are you willing to listen?
It's, I've been asked probably as often as you have, what are the keys to success?
Mm-hmm.
And my set answer is work hard, get lucky.
What is luck?
Well, yeah, the harder you work, the luckier you get, but
Mm. I
avoid.
have a word. You know what luck is? To be mentally, emotionally, and physically prepared for an opportunity that presents itself to you. You create your own luck. Opportunity dances with people already on the dance floor. And if you're not out there in the thick of it working, you're not getting lucky.
Well, I'm going to slightly disagree with you because
Okay.
the people who are running convention centers during the pandemic, uh, there's nothing they could have done. They got unlucky. The people who are running movie theaters during the pandemic, they just got unlucky, right? My business went through the roof. We had the three best years of ever in the history of our retail business. We just got lucky. We scaled up to take advantage of the luck, but there's got to be a degree of luck in all things, most things.
Well, see, you touched on something that's very near and dear to me, and I think you know this. I spent 30 years in the hospitality industry. So I worked with those people in convention centers and hotels and so forth and so on. If you understand the dynamics of that industry, you know that it's cyclical. When the economy catches a cold, the hospitality industry already has pneumonia. So when COVID hit, it was no different than the Gulf War, 9/11, or the market crash. There's always going to be something that happens that's going to take you. You can be riding like this, riding high, and it's going to take you to a complete nosedive. The question becomes, do you have the stick with itness, or do you have the fortitude to see it through?
So I read someplace, and I'm going to get this quote wrong, and it's numbers, but there's like only 6 companies who were in the Fortune 100 or 500, or Fortune 100 100 years ago that still exist,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the guy who made the boogie whips for the right, he's out of business. I get that, but
Buggy whips.
yeah, but a lot of other companies were on the top of the mountain and have fallen off. I don't think my company is going to survive. We're in business 40 years. I can't see us surviving another 60 years.
Well,
The
you
world's
have
going
to
to
be
change.
able to reinvent yourself. You have to be able to reinvent yourself. And see, that's what a good CEO or a good COO is looking for. They're not looking for what's happening today. They're looking for, how do I take this company to the next level? You know the story of Blockbuster and what happened to Blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
No. Okay. The CEO, the guy who created Netflix, went to the guy at Blockbuster and said, I want you to buy my company. The guy says, I don't need your company. I own the market. But where is he today?
Right.
Netflix is now charging $30 a month for the entry level for you to get in, which they were just giving it away in the beginning. Okay. And Blockbuster's out of business. So the question is, do you have the mind, the vision to reinvent yourself? I'll give you another one. Do you remember compact computers?
I'm old enough. Yeah.
Compact computers created the first laptop, and they put desktop. They put IBM on the skids. IBM lost everything because they used to have the big mainframes. And when Compaq created this little computer with all this brain in it, IBM almost went belly up, and they got so embarrassed they came back to the marketplace now as Lenovo. You know that's run by IBM, but they're too embarrassed to say we lost our shirt. And it happens, that stuff perpetuates itself over and over and over again. So if you're not of the mindset of how do I ride where I am and change to take advantage of what's yet to come, then
So
you're lost. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
crystal ball,
Mm-hmm.
looking around the corners,
Mm-hmm.
anticipating all the unknowns.
Mhm.
Great skill set. Not everybody's got it.
Mhm.
So if you can't anticipate what comes next, you have to be quick enough to react to it as it's happening and identifying it as a game changer,
Mhm.
right? We have been very, very good at that.
Mhm.
We have been exceptionally good. And one of the things is evolution is what happens when you don't make a plan. Change is what happens when you do make a plan.
Okay.
So if you're just waiting for evolution, you're extinct, right? Everything dies in evolution. If you want to survive, you have to make changes.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant.
Absolutely. Well,
Evolution. If you're
you
waiting for
have
evolution to die, right?
mhm.
If you want to survive, you have to change.
You got to change. And here's the other thing. We were in Kansas City a couple of weeks ago at a board meeting, and everybody in there had a different ideology or mindset or vision about certain things. One of my mentors always said to me, when you're in those types of environments, understand where you are and take advantage of what's around you. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Right.
Okay. But if you want to become an expert on a topic, surround yourself with experts on that topic, and then they will enrich your mindset and your value system.
I have a very, very, I don't know if it's insecurity or if I was sitting with Jesus Christ, Moses, and Abraham Lincoln, and I were all sitting at a foretop together, I don't know if I could keep my mouth shut and just ask questions.
That's all I would do.
I know any smart person in the world would just ask questions,
Uh-huh.
right? And
Mhm.
it's not like I like the sound of my voice because it's kind of but I can't just keep my mouth shut and ask questions. So
I'm going to
personal,
tell you. Remember, I told you about my great grandfather Charlie. I'm going to say to you what he said used to say to me, and I know you're my senior, but don't take it the wrong way. He used to sit me down and say, "Sonny boy, let me tell you something. God gave you two ears and one mouth to listen twice as much as you
use it
speak."
right, right,
Okay,
yeah.
and I have adopted that because I walk in, and you mentioned this to me when I first met you. When I came to Kansas City that morning, what did I do? I sat there and almost didn't open my mouth. And you came to me and said, "You said a couple of things, but I didn't think you knew anything before you opened your mouth." Didn't matter. I needed to understand what everybody else knew, what everybody else was doing.
You let
And
the room
now
before you
I
open
can
your mouth.
add,
Yeah.
right? And if you practice that philosophy, then it allows you to identify where you can assist, where you can learn, and what you want to stay away from.
Sage, sage.
Mhm.
I wish I could have learned that 25 years ago. Excuse me,
Wasn't
before
for us. It wasn't for
I
us
was
then.
15 years old. My life would have been so much easier.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, I used to
they
drink.
say youth is wasted. I mean, what do they say?
Youth is wasted on the young.
Exactly. If we knew then what we know now.
Right. I, I want to come to Florida next winter when it's icy as snow here
Mhm.
and sit out on the porch, something in each hand, and visit with you
Oh,
extensively.
please do. Don't even wait till winter. I mean,
No,
people
no,
say to
no.
me, it's too
It's hot
hot
down
down
there
there.
now.
Look, it's much easier to get cool than it is to get warm. If I get too hot, I dive in the swimming pool and cool off, dry off, and I sit back down. If I get hot again, I go back in the pool for a few minutes and I come back out and I sit back down. I have my favorite beverage sitting next to me and my favorite cigar sitting over there. And that's how I spend my afternoon. If I'm not doing something, if I'm not writing or speaking somewhere, that's what I do.
How much do you travel?
Whew, too much. I just got back from Tampa. I was there for 4 days. I'm home now until the middle of August. I've got to go to Martha's Vineyard for a meeting, and then
Ah, former
at the
president.
yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not in that. I'm not in that section. I'm in the other section. I'm in the cheap
On the
seats.
poor side of Martha's
Yeah,
Vineyard.
I'm sitting. I'm not sitting in the box up front. I'm sitting with Bob Euchre.
Okay.
You can remember. Great
Are you
seats, huh, buddy?
are you coming to Kansas City in September?
For a meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll probably be there. I
Rhonda,
don't. Do we
you
have the
were
dates
wanting
yet?
to
Do we have the dates yet?
Smith.
Do we have the dates yet for the meeting?
Yeah, September 13th and 14th.
Okay. I need to tell Brenda to send them to me so I can get them on my calendar. Because I have CRS.
What's CRS? Can't remember shit?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Is it
Mm-hmm.
contagious?
Oh yes, very much so. And
I
then
don't know
it gets
about hanging
worse.
out with you.
It
It's
gets worse
contagious.
every year. It gets worse every year.
All right. Brother,
Yes,
I
sir.
can't wait to see you. Spend some quality time together. BTBY is what brought us together, and we'll keep this relationship flaming so it will grow into a bonfire. You're a solid citizen. Loves and hugs, bro.
Same to you, my friend. Peace and happiness. God bless. And until we see each other again, I won't say meet again because we've already met. Till we see each other again, keep pushing.
Happy trails.
All right.